Academics co-signing Ken Carson and Destroy Lonely again. I actually don't think it's him. He was talking about Uzi co-signing, basically being in love with them. Uzi's probably, because he just signed a producer, which we'll get to in a second, because I gotta cook him real quick. But he probably wishes that he signed Ken and Lone. He's like, damn, Cardi, you a god. You know, you really know how to start a label and see talent and all that. Because if you go back to Ken's old music, you know, it's hard to really see the vision. His sound with the whole Barbie Boy album or whatever it's called, it sounds way different than Teen X and then Teen X Relapse and like the whole auto-tune thing. He was more like, but I guess every rapper starts there with the less melodic or less auto-tune type rapping, more lyrical shit. But anyway, let's see what Axe said.
Nigga, when I studio with Uzi, nigga, Uzi talked about Ken Carson and Destroy Lonely. Like, them niggas was the greatest thing since white on fucking rice, my nigga. Like, nigga,
yes, Lone always had potential. Yeah, if you go back to his old music videos, he was killing it, especially like that Miley Cyrus song, Broken Hearts. He was dope.
He talked about them niggas like there was like nigga there was great as peanut butter and jelly, nigga great as like fucking like
bro gotta keep mentioning food because he's salivating. He's like, when's the last time I ate?
My nigga, I kid you not. Nigga, when I was in,
let's see,
like I was fucking bewildered. Like y'all was trying to tell, I said, Uzi, you do know this whole shit, like this whole thing you created. You're like the epitome and like you're the height of creativity. It ends with you. And I think he was really not,
I don't know about ends, but
upset, but like he was like taken aback by it, but he was just like, no, definitely not. And he's like, you can't say that when look at these guys. And he pointed at Ken Carson and Destroy Lonely. He gave them mad props. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. He gave them boys mad props. And that was kind of like a dope move too, because when you hear him talk about those guys, he don't talk about them like they're, oh yeah, they're not like me, or you know what I mean, these are little niggas. Like he gave them the utmost. Like I was fucking bewildered.
So he did let them perform. I don't know where it was. I think it was like in Canada or maybe Thailand or whatever. But Lone and Ken came on stage with Uzi and performed their songs while Uzi was probably like off the Molly or whatever. He might be sober, but just screaming and shoving shit up his ass and everything. But I don't know if Lone and Ken, I love both of those artists and Yeat in this newer generation. And I think Yeat might be at that level where he can do what Uzi, like potentially, I'm not saying he will, potentially like he could get to that spot where he's influencing a whole generation, but still, I don't know. I don't know if Ken and Lone, at least from the music they've released, really got it like Uzi, because Uzi came out fast, 2016, pause, and dropped 3 like classic mixtapes in a row, and I just don't see the same consistency of bangers and versatility as Uzi in their music. Sorry. So maybe Uzi's just like thinking back to the old days of how he was performing when he first blew up, and he's like, damn, this is exactly what that was like, because Ken and Lone are so young or so new and they got a super cult following. And that's probably what Uzi had. But Uzi, I think he could, back in those days, he could probably sell more tickets to his shows than Ken and Lone right now. It's not even a question. Like I went to, granted I'm a little bit older, so I don't really go to those things anymore because I'm not trying to like jump around sweat with sweaty kids who got acne all over their body and shit. But I went to some Uzi shows, and I went to one, but it was absolutely crazy. Like jumping the stage, and it was like super, it was like a warehouse type thing. It wasn't like a real stage, just kind of like, I don't know, a couple feet up. It wasn't a Rolling Loud stage, if you will. But I don't know. I just don't think that I don't think they compare to the Uzi. He's not giving himself enough credit. Yeah, they still underground for a reason. But the thing is, Lone isn't really underground anymore, if you ask me. Like he sold 29K, bro. He's selling more than like Lucky. And no disrespect to Lucky, because I think Lucky's hard too. But once you get past like the 20K, you're pushing into the mainstream a little bit. people don't understand. Uzi was really different. They was comparing Fago to him at first. I mean, even I was comparing Fago to Uzi. I was saying, like, could he be the next Uzi? Because he was on that trajectory, but then he just waited too long. And see what happened with Uzi? In 2016, he popped off from Love is Rage. That was 2015. Then he drops Lil Uzi Vert versus the World, Perfect Love Tape. Then Lil Uzi Vert versus the World 2. And then you got to be consistent at the beginning of your career when the flame is on. You know, and then he had Money Longer, and I don't even remember, but he had hits on hits in like Billboard. Uzi was basically underground and already hitting Billboard. That's how fast he blew up. So I just don't think Lone and Ken really compare to them like that. Like, they're hitting Billboard for their albums, but they're not getting the Hot 100 Billboard hits like Uzi was. And I'm never gonna let people argue that. Uzi was just different. And that's why he's the GOAT. It's another era, though. For sure. I do think it's harder nowadays to get like an Uzi type cult following. But at the same time, I feel like Yeet was successful. You just have to be that good of a brand, not just have that good of music. You have to have like the overall package. Uzi had like the colored dreads. He had the personality with like the little shoulder roll. He had the music. Yeet has the image. He's funny on social media without even like really talking too much. He has good music. He's dropping consistently. He's getting collabs with big artists and getting the cosigns. And that was all relatively like on his own, that he just built up step by step by step. Uzi, yeah, he was signed to Gen Now and had DJ Drama and Don Cannon behind him, but like people just people didn't even know back then about that they were behind him. But Yeet is really, I think Yeet is the only one right now that can compete with that level of Cardi Uzi in the future. Like, he's already technically, like, again, people are gonna slaughter me for this, but he's already technically outstreaming Cardi, granted. And I'm talking about like total streams wise per year, but that's just because he has way more music. He already has more music in his catalog, at least official music out, than Cardi. But if you factor in the leaks from Cardi on SoundCloud and YouTube, perhaps Cardi will be streaming more. You get what I'm saying? Like, imagine if you counted all the streams that Juice WRLD had too on all of the leaks. He might be blowing everybody out of the water, even NBA YoungBoy, because most Juice fans don't even listen to the official releases anymore. They're just listening to straight leaks because he just got so much music out. Saying hell nah, shit. Again, this is all just like speculation. I'm just trying to build arguments here.